Okay, I'm back. The issue I actually had is because I am haphazardly clicking through these events. I was actually in, I was still editing Start Battle, and I went to switch to another event, but I'm still technically editing this panel, and that caused an issue when trying to save out that other one. So always make sure that you cancel out or save before going over to another panel. I'm going to see if I can disable these buttons when you go and edit any of the sub components, so you can't modify or change anything right here or accidentally go to another page. But that may or may not be an easy task, so I'm just going to give that warning right now to make sure that you exit out properly from a panel before you go into another panel. So let's go in here and actually add in our move state to a new location. So now we want to move after battle and save this out. So this will move me back into in front of the person after the battle and continue the dialogue. Show dialogue. Display name is Strange Guy 2. What, how? I don't want to die. You win. Just leave me alone. And then we can go down and enable the next event in the sequence, which is our reward. And importantly, we can go through and disable ourself, so we can make sure that this event is no longer active. So I'm going to save that. I need to go up here and make sure that this also disables itself as an event. So as soon as you enable that next event, this event needs to disable. So we're going to set enable events starter and set that to disabled. So now it's going to disable it itself as an event. Come up here and save. Come over here and save. And that should be good. The only thing I need to add from this one is actually the teleport after the battle. So I'm going to say that this waypoint is where the guy was when we were talking to him, and this is going to be called after battle. It should not be case sensitive. I'm not 100% sure. I definitely know that if this is ran on Linux, it is probably case sensitive because everything in Linux is case sensitive. So save that, and now we go back to the guy to get our rewards. And dialogue. I am blind. All right, there we go. So this is Strange Guy 1. Oh, you returned. Thank you so much for helping us. Take this as a reward. You can find the chest for this key in the house at the end of the town on the right. It's a lot of text, but it's okay. So now he's gonna give me an item, but I don't have an item created for it. So I can come over here. I'm gonna create actually I need to make it a resource, because right now I have resources used as a key to unlock treasure chests. So I'm going to call this chest key because I'm original. And I'm going to call it a key item. We can make it to where we can buy it from a store if we want. Sell it for like 1 gil. Give it a description. So now we have an item. We can go back to our events. And we can award an item. Inventory, not inventory. It's a resource. Actually, no, it's still inventory. Going to resources. We see our chest key. We can add that to the list. He's going to give us a chest key only a single one. I want to make sure the item is added to our inventory and not removed. And we're going to show a dialog message showing that we got it. So we're going to save that. Actually, I wasn't done with that. We're going to get something. Oh, we have to disable the event. So after we get our item, we're done with this guy. He can now die. So we can disable this event now. And that should be the end of everything. I'm actually going to add one more quest event. And that's for something for the guy to say after he's given us the starter quest. And let's see. Same flow. We're going to call this quest 2.1 or something. Waiting for quest complete. It's pretty lengthy. And I'm just going to say, let me know when you have the situation under control. And that's all he's going to say. So that's our in-between event information. This one is not going to be enabled by default. And save this here. Let me make sure that this is not enabled. This should not be enabled. And the starter should automatically be enabled. All right, so now when we accept the starter quest, we're going to enable event 2, which is this right here for the ambush, but we also need to enable the waiting for quest and save this. And then when we actually finish the ambush, we have to make sure that we also disable the wait event for him waiting for us to come back to, finish the quest. Because we finished the quest, so there's no need for the event to be waiting. So now we have a full quest activated. We have a treasure chest that we can make. So let's go and make the treasure chest before I forget about that. So if we go down to the last house on the right, I believe. I'm just loading the event. Take this as an reward. You can find the chest for this key in the house. I spelled this incorrectly. At the end of the town. At the house at the end of the town on the right. So this is house at the end of the town on the right. So I can just go in here and find a treasure chest. I can just put it somewhere here. Doesn't matter where. I'll put it here. We're going to go in and get our general treasure chest. Standard treasure chest. Blink. It is under the ground. And it's also outside the house. So let's bring it inside. There we go. So we have our treasure chest. It's looking this way. It's in the corner. And for our treasure chest, we want to go down and add stuff. Where is it? Treasure, 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 treasure. Let's see. Sometimes there's so many things inside of an object that some of these things need to be filtered out so you can actually get to the information that you want in here. So let's see. We got chest requirements. Since we only have one key, we only need one chest requirement in the list. Um, we have the chest key. So now we have the chest key as our item requirement. We want to register this chest as a singleton object. So that way if we load the map or something like that, this treasure chest can only be opened once and only once. So we're going to register it to the database. We also need to bake the key first. So now we have the ID for the key and the chest baked. We want to make sure that we register it. It should have a chest ID, but for some reason it's not registering. Oh, I gotta give it a unique name. We're gonna call this Chest of Wonders. So now we have a unique name. We click this, we get our chest ID here. Wow, is that Chinese? I've never seen that. That is very interesting. I need to report that to Epic. But we now have our treasure chest. We have the state of it. Is it open? We don't want to change this. It's just so you can see if the treasure chest is open or not. It's not open, so we're good with that. We can save this now in here. And oh, we need an award for opening the treasure chest. So if we go down to our chest loot, we can open this up and set our filter to weapons since we don't really have items. Expand this out, and we can have test hands as an award. The drop rate, we're going to make it 100%. Since we always want this to actually drop, since it's a single chest, we want the drop rate for the item to be 100%, and we can give a quantity of 1. So now that we have that, we can save this. Let's go out here. All the way over here to the house. Nope, it's the house at the hill. We need to add an NPC here that we're going to talk to. It's a randomly generated NPC. Let's turn them around to face the right way. We want this NPC to take on the events that we put into the database, but first of all, we actually want this NPC to not wander around. We need it to stay where it is. So we're going to make it stationary. We're not going to give it an animation for the stationary, which would be down here in the stationary animations. I don't think I brought over the... Oh, I did bring over animation. So I'm going to use animation 7, which is kind of like a leg scratch animation. And they'll just do that while they're standing there waiting to be activated for the event. If I go down, let's collapse this. If I go down to the default events, I can actually load up the database, get the ambush event which they're part of, and bake that to the event list. And anything that's in the event list for when it's baked is going to actually, that's going to be the priority for events. So if you have multiple event strings that are attached to an NPC, I'm only executing the first one active in the list. I know some games have it to where you can select and select from a list of activated events and execute that event, depending on which one you wanted to do. But for right now, just for simplicity's sake, I'm actually just using the first event that's in the list that is currently active. So we have that. It's baked. I don't really do anything with the NPC name, but I can give it a name. And then if we go down here to the beginning of the city where this event will start, we will place an NPC here, and this will be our starter NPC. All right. So we want this one to be a stationary as well. I'm going to give it an animation for the stationary. Probably this one. Go down to the events. You can filter your events, but there's only like a very few events, so I'll just load them all. In priority, the starter needs to come first. Then the wait for quests to be done needs to happen next. And then finally, the award quest needs to be attached to this NPC. And this should be all the events that it needs to be in order that they need to happen, since order is important. And then we can just bake this down to the list. So now we have our baked event list here. And we can give this a name, doesn't really matter. And that should be it for that NPC. We're gonna save all. And since I actually named these NPCs Guy 1 and Guy 2, and it seems that it generated a female character up here for Guy 2, I can actually go in here and just trigger the random generator to generate me another character. Or I can actually go in here and say use template 2, which should be a use template 1, which should be a male character, and it generated a tall male character. Okay, I'm going to switch it back down. I'm gonna have it randomize the height. My character meshes are a little messed up. I'm not the best artist in the world, but it's something for at least test purposes. So I'll stop with this guy. He looks kind of scrawny, kind of a wimpy type of character or whatever. So that's good. We have the starter event that's over here. We have our loading point that's here. We have a treasure chest all the way at the end. And we have spawn points for the ambush here. That should be all that we actually need. So I'm going to save this. And we can test in the next video because I think I am almost out of time.